Hey there, welcome to Inception Closer. My name is Shane, and in this video I'm going to be talking a little bit about Loks Jeet Kune Do Takedowns. And I watched the video, and I just have some of my thoughts on it because for me, I have more experience in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and a wrestling background from high school than Jeet Kune Do. So I can speak from the Brazilian side of things. When I watch the footage or watch the video, sometimes when you're presented in a situation where you're in front of someone that's either, maybe it could be, I don't know, maybe it could be a lounge, it could be a bar, it could be at a fair or something like this, and people don't usually square off with you in a predictable fashion. So in the video it talks about one of Dan Lok's Sifu's about being able to strike and go for the throat and the eyes and then the groin shot and all that kind of stuff. Like it sounds good in theory, but what I look for is, how does the person stand? You know, if he's standing with his legs staggered one in front of the other and he starts grabbing at his knees to adjust his pant legs a bit so that he can get comfortable in a bit of a squat, that tells me this guy is either he's used to grappling or he's a wrestler. If you get a guy that's kind of like standing up with it and he looks like he's got some pretty good form, it's probably a pugilist, it's probably a boxer. It just depends. If you get a guy that's just, his hands aren't up, you don't know what it is. But you have to kind of pay attention to these things, and also you have to pay attention to who he's with as well, because it's not the first guy that gets you, it's the second and the third guy. And I'm not a big fan of, if you get in a tussle, to do the eye gouge, because not everything is a life and death situation. Like, I know a lot of Dan Lok's videos are, what happens if this guy grabs you? Well, a ball shot to the throat, eye gouge, grab his eyes, eat his eyes, and spit him out. Doesn't always work out this way. What I like to do is I like to not cause shit so that you get into a Game of Thrones fight to the death scenario. You know, like, I'm a lover, not a fighter. I don't go around picking fights. Because I promise you, if you get anything out of this video, there's always going to be a tougher guy. It doesn't matter what your technique is. So if you're known as that guy that eye gouges and goes to the groin, there's probably somebody out there that gets a kick out of that and will do the same to you, if not worse. So my suggestion is, don't get into a fight. If you want to go into tournaments and practice all that kind of stuff, go ahead. But a lot of the stuff that Dan Lok was showing and teaching, it doesn't work in its application in real life, because you don't always get a chance to do that. Chances are, statistically, 90% of all fights end up on the ground. And that's where it begins. That's where the fun stuff begins, the scrambling. And for me, if I get into a tussle, I don't like to get grass stains on my knee or anything like that. So I prefer the guy to be on his back and my knee on his stomach, that I can control him with a collar. And pretty much, if you can control him, you can calm him down and say, dude, like, relax, chill. I don't need to punch him 4 times to the groin, chop him in the throat and this kind of stuff. You don't need to do that. You need to be able to de-escalate the situation. Obviously, this is kind of, I don't want to say it's a little person scenario, but sometimes the guys that are picking the fights, they're the ones that you got to watch out for, especially if they're smaller than you. It's not the big guys that you got to worry about. It's these little guys that are going around picking fights with bigger guys. Like, I'm 6'2", 250 pounds. And if a little guy comes up to me that's 5'7" and he's all in my face, I'm thinking, man, he's on crack. He's either carrying a knife or he knows something that I don't know. There's an unknown known, or there's a known unknown. So those are guys you just kind of have to keep a wide berth, you know? You don't have to be like timid and all this kind of stuff, but you're alert. Your mind, your brain should be on high alert when a guy does that. So I don't know. That's my 2 cents. It's really back to the takedown stuff. What I would do is, again, once you analyze everything, if you have to, I would shoot in for a single or a double leg, pick up the guy onto the back, you stun him, it's over. Or he's not going to know his name, where he's from, whatever it is. That is almost enough, unless the guy's got a lot of adrenaline. That's enough to put things into perspective for the guy, especially if you drop him on the back of his head. Obviously, you don't want to kill the guy and all this kind of stuff. But because of my wrestling background, that's probably what I would do, because I don't want to get punched in the face or kicked or any of that stuff. Pick him up, throw him down, and get ready, because there's probably going to be somebody else that's ready to tussle, to defend his buddy's honor. So those are things you got to watch out for, rather than trading blows, because you don't know how good these guys are at boxing and stuff. I don't want to mess around with that. Rather shoot in, pick them up, throw them on the ground, finish them off with a couple of shots. They turn over, choke them out. But again, if you're choking the guy out, chances are, like, you got to be aware that there's somebody else. You can almost count on it. There's somebody else that's going to give you a cheap shot. Back of the head, punch to the head, whatever it is. Hopefully you have a friend. But you can see how the scenario gets out of control. The realistic thing would be to just get out of there. You know, really, because you don't know if people got knives, all this kind of stuff. Protect yourself, your friend, if you're with your girlfriend, wife, whatever, and get out of there. You know, de-escalate the situation. There you go. That's just my thoughts. See you in another video. Bye for now.